Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to have all of you here again for another session. We have Jacob Shekrel here with us, and a warm welcome to you. Hi, how are you doing?
Thank you very much, Rita. It's great to be here. Exciting,
Yeah,
but it's
it's great to have you here. So, briefly, Jacob is a mental strategist and a clinical hypnotherapist, and he developed a method that helps business people and entrepreneurs overcome the inner factors responsible for stress, anxiety, and depression. He is a life success consultant student and the representative of Bob Proctor in Spain. So he moved to from Israel to Spain 21 years ago, long time now, and his topic today is catapult your success with the one skill that your competitors are not familiar with. So without further ado, shall we start?
Thank you, Rita. We are going to start. And guys, thank you very much for being
Thank
here.
you.
I'm really truly excited. And every person wants to succeed. Even a monk who lives in a cave and meditating all day, he wants to succeed to reach his goals that he set for himself, even probably define himself a goal to have less than the others. Yet, in the Western world where we live, most of people wants to have more than the others. Just similar to the definition of the American dream to have bigger, stronger, faster. Now, this information which I'm going to share with you in the coming minutes suits for every person, but maybe not to that monk, which I mentioned before. And it doesn't really matter if you're an entrepreneur or senior executive with 35 years of experience, or just a young man who's going to his first job interview to reach his dream job. Now, we all need to know our assets. We know that we need to differentiate ourselves from the others. We need to brand ourselves and to be more efficient. And we need to know how to establish our authority. And we need as well to know in which platform we can market ourselves and our products. And guess what? This list, which I just mentioned, even your competitors knows it. Just like you learned those things, they too learn them. Yet there's one thing only that your competitor don't know. And I believe that you don't know it either. And I'm talking how to avoid the slippery trap that every business person, every entrepreneur and executive are dealing with. I'm talking about the stress which is leading to anxiety, which is leading to depression. Yet in 19 minutes, each one of you, is going to know something that your competitors don't know. And this knowledge is going to help you to close the gap between reality to the competitive world, between the results to your desires, and to lead you into a reality of inner peace. And that will allow you to create a bigger, sustained growth and economic security. Now, the most important thing which you're going to learn today now, it's how to create internal resilience. Now, I'm sure that you've heard about people or you're familiar with people, very successful people, that even they managed to generate tens of millions of dollars in their life. Yet, most of them, despite all the money they have, they're unhappy. And trust me, I know people like that. I know several of multimillionaires. And the reason for this lack of happiness is the lack of inner resilience. Now, the inner resilience is the ultimate weapon that helps people not only to reach the peak of success that they want to achieve, but also to live with a satisfaction. And that thing, your competitor doesn't know how to reach. Now, to reveal you this secret, I want to take you to a journey, but don't worry. It's going to be a fast, yet it's going to be deep. Well, that's the way we diving instructors, we love to dive deep. Anyway, let's go continue because this is the most important thing right now we're starting it, this journey. In the last 5 years, using the method which I developed, I'm helping professionals to release the cause of stress and anxiety, to close the gaps in their life, and to reach to a situation where they don't need any more medication. Yet that you need to do it to coordinate with your own doctor. I cannot tell you not to stop using medication. And I'm going to ask Rita now to bring up the survey, and the first survey that we have, the first poll that we have, and I'm going to share it in the scale from 1 to 10. When 1 is the lowest stress, the lowest one, and 10 is the highest stress, in what level would you define your level of stress? So you have 5 options here. Please write it down. I want to see your participation, and let's continue there. Now, after that question, I'm going to ask another question. Now, remember, this is an anonymous survey, and nobody see who you write, whatever you write. But the question is a bit sensitive. Are you using sedatives or psychiatric medication? The answer is yes or no, without any explanation. So please write it down. Let's see what's the answers. Now, later I'll respond to it. In the modern world, we were taught to live in the instant way, that we don't need to solve any problems, just the symptoms. Let's say, for instance, if you have a headache, just take a pill, the pain will go away. But we don't solve the problem, because tomorrow we can have again another headache. Now, the stress is one of the biggest secrets in the world of professionals. Most of them are trying to hide from the colleagues, from the bosses, from the employees, because the stress is affecting their judgment, and they're afraid that people around them will think that they lost the strength. Now, many sure that stress is an integral part from the career. And even for the young employees that just starting to climb the ladder of career, they think that stress is part of life. They're sure that stress pushing them forward. And trust me, I'm familiar with that because of stress at work, family, studying, university. At the age of 32, I found myself 3 days in a hospital. The doctors suspected a heart attack. Thank God I didn't have any. At the age of 37 to 38, I went through 4 major crises. It was financial and emotional crisis. And I found myself in the lowest place ever. I consider myself as a person that can solve all the problems. But that time, I couldn't find any way to solve my crisis. And I reached a point that I wanted to end my life. 18 months, I've been in a cave. And when I came out from it, I started the journey to where I'm located today, right now. And by the way, when a person tells himself, I'm strong, it won't happen to me, maybe. But according to the research of Harvard Business School, the statistics show that more than 50% of executives are experiencing stress and anxiety. And I'm going to tell you something else. Those that outwardly, they look the more strongest and toughest people, they're the one who goes through the hardest crisis. And that's because the walls, the big walls that they built to hide behind them. In 2014, Miami Herald published an article that the doctor organizations say that stress is the #1 cause of death, which is responsible to the 6 mortal deadly illnesses like heart attack, stroke, diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure, and even suicide, according for suicide, because of suicide. So this is a good reason that we should know how to solve the stress issues. So let's see which triggers can affect the stress. With young people starting their professional way, they're usually afraid during the interview, they sweat, they lack of confidence. Others are even afraid to go to the boss to ask for a raise that they deserve after investing years of extra hours, and then while they neglect their family. And with senior managers or adult manager in the 50s, they're already tired, and they already start thinking about their coming pension. And just as they wait for it, they scarce. They are afraid of it as well. And yet they need to show the boss that they are doing a great job, despite all the pressure of the young employees that want to take their job, their position. 3 years ago, I worked with a senior attorney at a corporate America. She suffered from high blood pressure, migraine that lasted a week. She used medication, but she also suffered from a stress and anxiety that caused depression. And she used to take sedatives at night to escape that difficulties during the day, she used to drink wine and to take pills, sleeping pills, to fall asleep. An anxiety attack would wake her up during the night, and she was constant in sleep deprivation. She lived with the stress for several decades, which affected the divorce and also affected her kids. One of the triggers that added to her stress was the need she had to hide all the situation where she lived in from her bosses and employees. In life, we have three core areas which are related and affect each other. And I'm talking about health, relationships, and career. Now, when one area is not affecting well, immediately it's affect all other areas. Now, these three areas are the triggers that also appears or causing to stress. And I'm going to ask you, and I'll ask Rita again to bring up the third question, the third poll, and you see the 5 options. I want to ask you, during an event of stress in your life, which area was causing it? Was it health, relationship, career, maybe more than one, or maybe more than 2? Now, thank you, Rita, for the survey. Now, that senior attorney doesn't suffer anymore from stress and anxiety. She doesn't need any more the medication, not for physical, not for mental health. And the wine, she's just having it for fun. When I worked with her using the method which I developed, the solution arrived when I identified and took care on the root cause of the stress. And surprisingly, it was an emotional trauma at the age of 7. And the minute that we released that emotional trauma using hypnosis, everything started to change. Situations that were previously perceived as threatening triggers were no longer a problem. And that attorney, she's not the only one which I helped. I worked with a business consultant from Italy. I worked with entrepreneurs from Israel, from Australia, from United States. I also worked with a young businessman from Kuwait. He eventually stopped using sedatives, and I worked with many more. So let's understand what is exactly stress. The human mind, the human brain, has only one goal: to maintain the physical survival. And to do that, the brain is using 2 organs, small organs at the size of an almond, and they called amygdala. Now, the amygdala is sitting in the center of the brain, and they connected to all parts of the brain, and it received all the information from the 5 senses. In a split of a second, they check the threat, and they make sure that if we need to respond in fight or flight or freeze, you probably heard about it. And when there is no physical threat, the situation continues as stress. Now, the stress is causing physiological and mental phenomena, is causing increase in blood pressure, abdominal pain, thoughts, and simulation of danger, meaning the stress is emotional distress that we perceive it as a threat to our existence, and that affects our physiology and mentally, which are triggered by external triggers. Many people blame other people or situations that they cause their stress. But as I said before, it's not like that. People and situations are only the triggers. And those triggers evoke the memories and the interpretation on that emotional hurt or the trauma from our childhood, and we respond in stress. Those triggers will continue to appear in our life even after the treatment, even after the process that I'm working with people. Yet, at the moment that we solve the cause of the problem, the roots of the problem, the trigger doesn't affect anymore. And during our childhood, 99% of the kids, of the children, are suffering or experiencing one or more type of abuse. And I'm talking about the physical abuse, verbal or mental abuse, and sexual abuse. And that's correct to men and women. Now, these traumas are affecting the inner self-image. They're causing lack of self-confidence, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-love, feeling that I don't deserve, shyness, fears. And when people get older, several things happen. The first thing that happens, that people usually becoming a control freak. They need to control. And that just because of the fear that somebody might hurt them again. The second phenomena, that they build a huge wall to hide behind them. Because of that emotion hurt in the childhood causing a low self-esteem, the wall that we build is to represent the world an image, a strong image that we wish to be. And not long ago, I spoke with someone, he told me, I'm tired of making shows of strength. The third phenomena is that when people are getting older, they want to bury their memories of the traumas. They hope that forgetting them will help them to break free and take off for success. And truly, it doesn't matter how many decades we try to bury and hide those hurt emotions, but they keep bubble inside us like a volcano. And every time that we face a trigger, those hurt feelings erupt in stress like a volcanic lava. In my method, I help people to identify those hidden traumas and to neutralize those traumas from our emotional system. And then not only that we don't need to try to forget, but even the external trigger doesn't affect us anymore. And at this stage, we can rebuild the self-confidence, the self-esteem, and we can give up on our walls, the one that we had. So now that we understand that stress is a response of the emotional system, when we know already that when we solve the root cause of the stress of our emotional system, we can prevent stress from appearing in our life. And trust me, it's much healthier. Now that you know that there is a fast and healthy way to get rid of the stress, I'm sure that you want to know that secret which your competitor doesn't know. When your competitors are dealing with stress, they want to solve symptoms. They're looking for external solutions like medication, yoga, meditation, breathing technique. But all these are temporary solutions. They just help to calm down. At the moment of truth, those trigger appears in our life. All these methods are not effective. Now that you know the secret, that to build the inner resilience, we need to dive and search for this solution deep inside us, to find the root cause that's affecting our interpretation and to release it from our life. And that's fast and effective. And let your competitor to search for the temporary solution outside. And then I thought, okay, so you know now theoretically what to do, but how can I help each one of you, a practical way to help you? And I decided not to leave you with empty hands. And I want to help each one of you to make the first step, to release those internal emotions that are causing stress. So I prepared for you a special gift. It's called the Audiophile of Hypnosis. The name of it, it's the Mind Game Changer. And I recommend to listen to it at least once a day for several weeks. And the audio is going to help you to overcome the stress and anxiety, to strengthen your self-confidence and self-esteem, and to change limiting paradigms. So Rita, can you just bring, or somebody is going to bring the link?
Yes.
So thank you. And I'm just finishing, last words, if that's what you want. Always see you. Okay. So in the next minutes, after you register, you're going to get an email with a link, your present, your gift, and you're going to find out the instruction how to use the audio. And if someone from you, listeners here, is dealing with stress and wants to make a meaningful process, I thank you very much. And I'm happy to be here and to share this information with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacob. So we have shared the link in the chat. Okay. I think if you have a look, you will see it. Swapnil just shared it. And I wanted to also maybe quickly share the polls. Let's see if I can do this. I show on stage.
I shared as well the link again.
I don't know how we do see the answers, though. Let me close the poll.
I don't see the answer. I was curious about it as well.
Yes, I see the answers myself, but I don't know how I can put that on stage. Okay, I can try the other one. Next one. Show on stage. Let me see. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yes and no. Why is it so low in the screen? We have, okay, we have, I don't know really why it's so low in the screen. We can see the yes with 15, comma 38 and the no with 84, comma 62.
Yeah,
And let me check to see if I can show the next one a little bit better.
I haven't seen the first one, but never mind. I'll ask you to
Yeah.
swap
There's something
if you
to
can.
my technical knowledge that I'm missing here. So pretty much, if you have experienced stressful events, to which of the core areas did they belong? Um, we had more than one area with 36%, and then it was more than two areas, 27,27. Career was coming next, and relationship and health were more or less even. Can you see this on your screen privately,
I can,
Jacob?
yes, I can. I privately I cannot see it. I see what you share, and I just took a
Okay.
screenshot of it.
Okay, very good. I will do that. Don't worry. I apologize to the audience that
Yep.
cannot fully see it. I will improve my skills showing the polls on stage for the next talk. Thank you again, everybody, for being here, for participating, for sharing your personal views on this and participating in the polls. Thank you again, Jacob, and stick around for the next talk. Bye,
I
everybody.
will.